Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and today we're going to take a look at DSi games. Right now, you're looking at the only 3 DSi games that are DSi exclusive that were released in the United States. And they are, if you're looking to complete your collection, System Flaw, Picture from left to right, Picture Perfect Hair Salon, System Flaw, and Photo Showdown. Released by 505 Games and Storm City Entertainment and Konami, respectively, in the United States. These are the only 3 DSi exclusive games released in the United States. Now, the DSi exclusive stuff is interesting because, well, these particular games only work on a Nintendo DSi system or above. They'll work on the DSi, the DSi XL, the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the 2DS, the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL, but they won't work on the DS or the DS Lite, mainly because they make extensive use of the camera. Now, there were 6 games developed for this. The first one, and the only one developed by Nintendo, was a European-only release of face training, facial exercises to strengthen and relax, from Fumiko Uenouro, which I think we've got some trailers that we're going to show you in this particular video for some of these games. In particular, I just want to show you a little bit of their gameplay footage. We couldn't find a 505 Games or Sonic powered trailer for Picture Perfect Hair Salon because I kind of feel like they're embarrassed by it. Considering that 505 Games were the people who were pushing the Naughty Bear franchise, I suppose so. Anywho, there were 3 DSi only titles released in the United States, 3 released in Europe, 1 released in Australia, and 1 released in Japan. The only one released in Japan and North America would be Photo Showdown, developed by Alpha Unit, released by Alpha Unit in Japan, and then published by Konami in the United States. This was published in Japan on November 19, 2009, and March 9, 2010 in the United States. Face training, facial exercises to strengthen and relax from Fumiko Uenouro was released September 24, 2010 in Europe by Nintendo, developed by Intelligent Systems. It's actually a port of the DS game, which came with a front-facing camera, and the basic idea was that you looked at it and grimaced and cringed to make your face muscles work better. I think it didn't come out here in the United States because that stuff doesn't work, and they would have gotten sued. Anywho, the company Majesco and a developer a different game wanted to put out a title called Ghostwire Linked to the Paranormal. That never got released for DSi, but I think it got released on iOS. Now, Hidden Photo from Most Wanted Entertainment and released by P-Cube Limited was released in 2011 in Europe, and it's one of the only ones that and Face Training were not released anywhere but Europe. Picture Perfect Hair Salon is the only one released in Australia in January 31st, 2010. It was released by 505 Games, developed by Sonic Powered, and was released in North America on November 24th, 2009, November 13th, 2009 in Europe, and, like I said, January 31st, 2010 in Australia, making this one the only one to be only of these games to be released in at least 3 regions. In fact, Japan only got Photo Showdown, and some of these, like System Flaw, was only released in the United States. System Flaw was developed by Visual Impact and retail published by Storm City Games, and it was supposed to be released by Enjoy Gaming in Europe, but it never saw a physical release. Basic idea of System Flaw is that it's a little bit like the Face Raiders game that came with your 3DS, where you move your DSi or DSi XL around and shoot at invisible things around you. The Ghostwire Linked to Paranormal was similar to that Fatal Frame Spirit book title that was released for the 3DS, where it was essentially using augmented reality. You'd take pictures of like a pentagram and candles and summon ghosts. Weird. A lot of these just use the camera. None of them use the DSi enhanced features. or extra processing power. They just use the camera. There are other games available for the DSi and for the Nintendo DS that are DSi enhanced that may also use the additional processing power or the additional camera features, but these were the only three that were released separately, like where you could not use them on a Nintendo DS or a Nintendo DS Lite. They'll work on everything else though. These are the first ones to have region locking. Now that Nintendo has announced and released more information about the Nintendo Switch, it's nice to see that Nintendo is stepping away from region locking as a whole, because region locking is terrible. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little look at some of these Nintendo DSi titles. I should have put up on the top a couple videos of some of the trailers for some of the DSi games that were released in other regions. I hope you got to take a look at those. I hope all this information met with some interest with you. If you're looking to complete your set, you need to pick up these three titles if you're collecting in the United States, and Face Training, Facial Exercises to Strengthen and Relax from Fumiko Inudo in Europe, and Hidden Photo in Europe. If you pick those up, those 5 titles, those 2 plus these 3, pretty much make up the only DSi games released worldwide. I have a complete set of the English ones, and unfortunately no prototype of Ghostwire Link to the Paranormal was ever released or leaked, which is kind of a shame, as it's a pretty cool little idea. Unfortunately, it is what we'd call an abandoned game, or a lost DSi game. Well, have you tracked down any of these? Have you seen any of these before? These are white cartridge only. They only work on the DSi and DSi XL on up. They're region locked, and, well, they're not something people think to collect yet. So what do you think? What do you think of these? Were you surprised that there are DSi games, or that at least 5 of them were made? Which is funny, because right now in the United States there's only one new 3DS only game, that would be Xenogears, that was released physically, with Runbow Pocket set to become the second one. At this point in time, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, just a weird little footnote in Nintendo DS history. So, let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this with your friends and family and other collecting enthusiasts. And make sure you tap that little bell if you subscribe, so that you'll know whenever we have a new video coming out. And until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.
You realize, no, it's not really about making the most money. It's about achieving your artistic vision.